Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about the community patch here in Star Trek Fleet Command. If you are a PC player and you wonder how people do magical things, like they can look at their screen here and they can zoom all the way out, they can see the whole system, so it's really easy to find the hostiles that you want to be able to target and be able to see which ones that you want to be able to kill nice and easily. Or if you want to go into your alliance button, see how much is it going to cost me to take my alliance up to level 51. What's it going to be in dilithium? 13.21 trillion. So you'd have to sit and slam that button at 50 donations a time. Ugh. Well, if you're a PC player, this is the video for you, because you need to be downloading, installing and using the community patch. We have got the creator Netniv for the community patch. He's going to talk us through exactly how to install this for your game so that you can get all of these fantastic benefits that I've showed you very briefly now, plus loads and loads of others that you can take advantage of to make you move into expert mode here on STFC. Let's dive straight in. So I'm delighted to say that we have got Netniv, the current moderator extraordinaire of the community patch. He's going to talk us through exactly how to install this on your PC client. Again, I will just reiterate that this community mod is only available providing that you play on PC or Mac. Netniv?
There is a Mac thing, but it's not really fully supported by me. It was something introduced by Tash because he was playing on a Mac, but I don't have a Mac, so I can't really test it. So it is out there.
Yeah.
You can install it, but there's no guarantees for that at the minute. It's kind of a beta thing.
So what we're saying is the best performance out of the community mod is going to be on the PC version only.
Yes.
Yeah. But welcome, mate. Thank you for everything that you do. It's massively appreciated. It's amazing. I couldn't live without it now. But we're going to talk everybody through how to install it, how to change all the settings and bits and pieces, aren't we? And just make sure that obviously we get people playing better. Because the amount of people that say, like when I'm doing a wave and you can see the full system, because I'm showing you now in base game on the community set. Oh, sorry, without the community patch installed. This is it. This is as far out as I can zoom. I'm currently scrolling my mouse wheel to Kingdom Come, and that's as far out as I can go. Obviously, I can go in, but I cannot go out. So that's it. However, you do have a setting, obviously, that you can do, which actually increases that zoom a little bit, and this is in-game. So if you go to Settings, General, and then you go down to Extended Zoom, you just saw how much that you could see. By changing that one setting, it does make a difference. That you can now go out this far. Which, I mean, that's not insignificant, is it, Netniv, to be fair? It's not insignificant, but we can make that better.
You can see the edge of the system there, which you weren't seeing before.
Exactly.
So it's almost like a 25% improvement, but that's still... you can't see the entire system. So
it's not, no, but we can make it do that, can't we?
We can.
Okay, so to install the community patch, one of the first things I think you're going to promote people that you say that you want them to join your Discord, and that's a good place to get access to all this and to ask questions.
Yes, there are many other people on the Discord that will answer questions and stuff if I'm not around, and they've been doing that quite happily for the last year. And as you can see there's chats going on with people. There's alpha chats if you want to get the alpha versions, etc. So you can just join in and people will help guide you to the various info places to see what you do. The main channel to go to would be the info channel, as you can see up there, and it will show you where to download the mods from straight away.
I will link this Discord in the video description, so anybody that wants to get access to this, go down below, or more than happy for you to ask on the STFC Officer Tool Discord if that's what you're already on. If you want to get a link to this, I'm more than happy to provide you to it so that you can get on here and you can get access to all this information. So what's the first step then? So I want to put the community mod here on my PC. What do I need to do?
So we have two builds. One is the last basically public release, which was a while ago, and then we have which is on the very first link in that info section.
Yeah.
So download latest. That'll get you the latest full release. And if you look at the releases one, which is just underneath, it'll give you a full list of them. So I would suggest going there right now because the latest one will be listed on that page too. and you can see there's an Alpha 6 version.
So these still say pre-release. So when you come to this page, you might be looking at this. We're currently looking at this at the 23rd of April 2025. You might be watching this video in August 25, February 26, whenever, when you're wanting to install this mod potentially. Anything that says pre-release, you're saying that that's probably not what somebody would want to be using. So you're not encountering issues on the what are in essence alpha versions, but obviously if you wanted somebody to have the most stable version that was currently there, you would go and find the one that says latest, and that's the one that you're confident it would be potentially the most stable.
Should be the most stable, yes, unless Scopely update their engines.
So these full change logs, I'm assuming that's going to tell us what exactly has changed within that particular iteration. Is that what that's for?
Yeah, so the change log will say between especially between alpha versions, what we've modified. So it will show you alpha 1 to alpha 2 and etc. But that is literally the full code of changes, etc. So people can go through and see whether anything they think is wrong, right, etc. And if they want to, they can provide patches through pull requests, and we will look at those and integrate them. As you can see there, is that J
Hunter? Shout out. Which version then would you recommend that players actually use from this list?
I'd get this latest one, which is the Alpha 6. Now, to get that at the minute, you expand the assets bit, and you will see various files. Now, there is not really much difference between the STFC community patch and the STFC community patch 061 Alpha 6. I would say get that one.
The first thing for us to download is this alpha.6 zip folder.
Yeah.
So obviously that will change in variation name pending when you're actually looking at this. It won't be the one at the top, but we'll go into the topmost version. Obviously, yes, it says pre-release. This is the one that they've suggested that you go for, and then you're looking, when you're clicking on the asset tab, you can see that it opens up this list of files, and then we're choosing the one basically with the longest name, which is the zip file, aren't we? The longest one. So it's got the patch, it's got the version number, it says the alpha, it's got the full name in the title. We're clicking that, and by doing that, what that'll do is that will then download it to our machine. Yeah.
What that means is you'll be able to see the difference between the versions. So if you have previous versions, you're not overwriting them, which will make life easier if you want to switch back. Because literally the main file out of this that matters is the version.dll, and that is what runs the code.
So now that we've downloaded this folder, so if I open this now and we open the source, we can see that what's in here. There's literally just this one file, isn't there? What do we do with it?
So that needs to go in the folder where your game runs from.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people make a mistake of opening the launcher and then finding out where the launcher sits and copying this into the launchers folder. That's incorrect, because putting this in the launchers folder will cause the launchers to stop working.
Right, so I know where my folder is. So my folder is here. So I've got this saved on the left-hand side because I use this quite regularly. But if I click this, it's then going to show me the source of where my game folder is that I know that I need to be putting this DLL folder into. So like for me, it's on my C drive. Yeah, go on.
I can show you a trick, which is that if you launch the game...
Okay. Game's up.
All right. You can right-click on it.
Yeah.
You can right-click on that prime.
Right.
You can click on Properties.
Yeah.
And you can see Location.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Right, and if you double-click that, or even right-click that, you should be able to select all.
Yeah.
And then copy it.
So Control C.
Right-click again. And copy.
Yeah, or right-click or Control C. And then, you would be able to just paste it in there, wouldn't you?
You can paste it in there.
Obviously, it's going to go to the same place because that's where I'm at now. That's a handy little trick, that, to find exactly the folder that you need to be in. So the game has to be up. So you wouldn't be able to do this from people that use this, like the launcher. So don't do it from the launcher screen. Make sure you do it from the active game window to be able to get into this correct root file. So now we're in this folder. This is where I literally need to transfer that file to, don't I?
You do. What I'm going to say is that some people will find this is in different places because the launcher does weird things sometimes and puts them on different drives or different folder locations.
Got you.
So this is the guaranteed way to find where yours is supposed to sit.
Perfect. So we're going to go back in here. We're going to. This is the folder we're in. So do you just want to grab this one file, or do you want to go out and get the whole zip folder?
Just that file.
Yep. And we're going to cut that, yeah, or copy it, whichever one you want to do, I suppose.
Copy it.
Yeah.
If you cut it, it's going to try and update the thing, and it won't be there again.
Okay. So we need to copy this. So right-click copy. Then we're going to go back into that game folder, which we now know where it is, and we're literally just going to paste it in here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like that.
So what that's done? Now, what's that done to my game? Because obviously my game don't look any different.
Right now, it's done nothing because the game's already running. Right. So what it does is the next time the game launches, it hooks into it, and it will create a couple of files in that folder that we were just looking at.
So if I close my game, do I need to close the launcher as well if I use the launcher?
No, just the game. Okay. You can use the launcher to launch the game again.
So let's close the game. So you've seen what's in this folder, and this is expected. So when I relaunch the game, we're expecting stuff to get added to this folder, yeah?
Yeah.
So I've launched.
You can see already there's a log file.
There you go. So you've just seen them being added there. I've launched the game on another screen just to illustrate that point, that those couple of things are going to get physically added to that folder. And then when I pull the game back over, I'll pull this back over to the screen now. So this doesn't look much different to me, Netnev. Looks like we need to make some other changes.
We do, but one thing you will see is if you go to your system,
yeah,
and you now try and scroll, you're probably going to hit the same kind of limitation, maybe. I don't know.
Have a look. But what I am able to do, which is amazing, bearing in mind you was only able to scroll with the scroll wheel. That was all you was able to do before I put that file in that folder. I've just used the letters Q and E, so Q and E on my keyboard now allow me to scroll in and out. I can still use WASD to be able to rotate around the system if that's what I want to do, but I can now use Q and E on my keyboard to be able to zoom in and out. And honestly, this is one of the best features for me of the mod. I know there's so much to it, but the ability to zoom out, look, and I can see that whole system. So imagine if I was farming in this system, I can go and I only wanted to kill the level 10 hostiles. I can just click the level 10, I can attack it, I can find there's another level 10 down here, I can stick it in my Kia Shara queue, I stick another level 10 in. And for things like that, being able to find it without having to prat about going through round at all the different systems, searching for all the different places, being able to see the whole system is amazing. And it's also revolutionary for waves, being able to see the whole system. Absolutely amazing. But there's other stuff that we can do, isn't there? There's other stuff that we can customize to make this game our own. Like, for example, how much blooming real estate does all this stuff take up on the outside? Huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just huge. And when you're used to games on the PC, you're used to it being, reasonable size, not just mobile scale size.
It looks like bloatware, doesn't it? It just looks like absolute bloatware on there.
So what you can do is, there are two things you can do. One is you can press page up and page down, which will scale your UI on the fly.
Oh, there we go. That's exactly how I want to play my game. Exactly how I think.
You know what? It'd be fun playing it that way, because it will be a case of what are you hitting.
I think that's fantastic. So page up and page down, they're the keybinds that are already programmed into the mod. If I go page down, look at this. I can just make that UI how I want it. I mean, that's a bit ridiculous. A little bit ridiculous.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is.
I might think I think that looks pretty crystal. I think that looks pretty amazing.
You have adjusted your UI. What you now have is, if you restart the game, you'll end up going back to what you had when you first launched.
No. So if I come out, I'm going to lose all those fantastic modifications. I'm going to lose all those fantastic modifications that I've just added. So I'm going to have to change it So you tell me I have to change it every single time I launch it? That doesn't sound very intuitive.
It doesn't. And so I made a change, which was one of the reasons one of the reasons I got into doing things with the mod. So what you can do is, if you do your page up, page down to get to the scale that you want, that will appear in your log file.
Right.
So if you go back to the game folder that we opened, you will see a community patch.log.
Yeah.
And if you open that, one of the last entries in this should say, UI scale equals blah.
Yeah, so UI scale has been scaled down to 0.6, well, not 0.65. Oh, sorry,
So,
0.5, no, not 0.6. That's what I've taken it
0.6. Yeah. So what you would do is you would now need to open the what we call TOML file. So if you close off the log, there should be another file there called community patch settings.toml.
Okay.
And if you edit that with Notepad, you may have nothing in it.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, how is the mod working? And that's because there's tons of defaults, and that's all you're currently getting.
Okay.
In order to make sure that we get the right things in here, best advice is to open below it called the vars file first time you do this.
So come out of this and open the vars file.
Yeah. And open that with Notepad.
Yeah.
And you'll see at the very top, it's got a big warning. If you modify things in here, it's not going to make a difference. And it won't, because this file gets recreated every time you run the mod to tell you what settings you're actually running. Because it's a mixture of the things that you actually specify versus all the defaults. So it's your things plus default.
Got ya.
Now, what I would suggest, if this is your first time, Control A to select everything.
Yep.
Control C to copy it.
Yep.
Or use the mouse if you prefer that way. Now you can close that window off.
So again, what we've done, so to do select all, you can do right click, select all, and you can right click, copy paste as well, or you can use the other shortcuts, Control A, Control C, to be able to perform the same function, just for people that aren't as technically minded, because technicality is my thing. But then we can close this vars file down, yeah? Then what do we need to do?
Go back to the TOML file that was empty. We paste it in.
So this is either Control V, or you can use right click and paste to be able to do that within this file. Okay. Oh wow, so this has put loads of things in here now. So this is now a huge list.
Yeah, so go back to the top and we get rid of that top section that's got lots of hashes there, because this file will get updated. I would always say get rid of any spaces at the top and then it starts from there. Okay. Now, before we do anything else, just hit save.
Okay. So file and save, or Control and S if you really wanted to.
Yeah. And what you've now got is everything you had in the vars file in the TOML file as the default, so you're basically matching the defaults. So nothing's different. If you run the mod again from the beginning, you'd have exactly the same thing we had a minute ago. Okay. What we want to do is go down and look for UI scale. Now, you will find UI scale as a shortcut. That's not what we want.
So if you go
UI to UI.
Yep.
Is it UI or is it at the top graphics? It may be graphics, you know.
Graphics, here we go. Adjust UI, UI scale adjust, and we've got UI scale. So how do I make it my 0.6, which I've designed as my sweet spot? Which one do I change? So
where it says UI scale, and it's currently got a rather large number, that's because, unfortunately, the way systems work, they round numbers around. Change that one to, did you say 0.6?
0.6, yeah.
Yeah, so change that to 0.6, and that's fine. The scale adjust is literally when you're pressing page up and page down, how much to scale it by. Oh, right. So if you found it was going up and down too quick for you, you could make that figure a lower number, and then it'll do
and vice versa.
A more smooth
amazing
thing, or you can make it bigger and it would just super jump, which may be completely unusable. But
and the UI scale viewer, what's this?
That is something we're working on. Not sure it's working right now, but it will be to allow you to have the hostile viewer at a different scale to your to the UI scale.
So what you're saying there is obviously at the minute I've got this. So when I click this button, this is actually quite small. Whereas obviously normally it would have been like this big. Do you know what I mean? So it's big, you can see a lot more information, it's there. Because I've scaled down to that 0.6 amount, obviously this box has got smaller as well. So you're saying that setting that's in there, that would allow me to, once it's working, like I say, remember, we're running a beta version on this particular install of the mod, so this thing might not be working. It probably is working if you're watching it in the future, but at the moment, it's not working where we can use this UI scaler, and making that number bigger is going to make that particular box bigger as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could always try it by setting that to either 1.5 maybe.
Let's go to
see what happens.
Okay, so 1.5. So you saw how small it was, about that big, And then what we'll do is we'll come out of the mod again, because in order for these things to take effect, remember you need to save your TOML file, and remember you need to close down the game and then relaunch it for any changes in settings to take effect. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, that is correct.
So now when we come in, we should be at my 0.6 UI scale. And let's see if our box has got bigger. It might be that happens to have been fixed already, or that is still being worked on, and maybe when you're watching this, it may already be there. Remember, Q&E allow us to just zoom out. Marvellous, go as big as we want. We'll go right out to the outside of the system, like we said, and then we can click this, and look how much bigger it is. Look how much bigger it is. That is absolutely amazing.
Yes. So in the future, there should be a shortcut that allows you to do that. It's possible that the shortcut either isn't assigned in the TOML file, or it's not working the way it's been set up.
But for now, we can just change that setting. We can just manually change that setting within the TOML file. Remember the TOML file, and when we're talking about the TOML file and VARS files, we're talking about when we look at the actual file name, like it's these, what it says at the end, the type of file that it actually is. That's what we're saying. So when we say update your TOML file, it's the one with .toml at the end of it, VARS file, .vars, etc., to be able to do it.
Yes. The one thing I will say, if you're not seeing those, it's because you've got file extensions in, and you need to basically unhide the file extensions to see them properly.
Okay.
Because Windows likes to hide those.
How would one do that?
I think it's on try view, and then show.
And then file name extensions is in there as well. So if you aren't seeing the file names on there, you just need to literally go into view at the top of your system, go down to show, and then you can go into file name extensions at the bottom there as well. And they're the different types of files that we need to be able to use. So that's fab. So other couple of settings that we can change in here, and then basically you'd say to people that if you're going to start playing with, I would probably put this in as a bit of a public service announcement, that if you're going to play with things, because you want to play with things a lot, but you've got a setting that actually works for you, I would make a copy of it somewhere, so that if you totally botch up your settings and you knew that you had some that you liked already, then I would maybe save a copy of the one that you know works how you like it, and then play with it in the file, keep changing it, and then you can always go back to the old version if you want to. A bit of version control, if that's something that you really want to do. But there's so much things in here. So things like use out of dock power is currently false. So that means that obviously when your ship can leave a station, obviously 9.903056, when I pull it out, 987169, that number changes. So what your actual ship power is shows different when it's within the dock. So you changing that setting and changing the word false to true, then you will always see when your ship is in dock or whether it's out of dock, you will see the correct use of power. And there's loads of other things in here. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I'm going to go through a couple of my really key ones, and I'll let Net go through a couple of his really key ones as well. So a couple of my key ones are that when you've got I tend to use like my left hand on the keyboard and my right hand on the mouse because I'm right-handed. It allows me to, you can see I've got ship 1 and 2 that are currently in dock. If I press number 2, it selects number 2. You can see that down the bottom. I'm not clicking the ship. I press 1, it goes back to dock 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I can do that. If you double press it, it will locate it. So even if it's in a different system, so you can see that my miner over here is out in another system, it's mining, and that's in dock number 7. So I can press number 7, it'll highlight it. If I press it again, it'll then take me directly to that ship. So it's fantastic if you're grinding across multiple systems, if you're using different ships to grind in the same system and you want to flick between them quick, you can do that by using the hotkeys to flick between ships. Another thing I really like is your spacebar. So your spacebar becomes your action button and your attack button. Now this doesn't yet work unless you tell me otherwise for things like the Kiyashara. So you cannot add additional ships to the queue with Kiyashara, but by clicking on a hostile and then hitting the spacebar, I'm not going to click attack, I'm going to put my mouse right over here. Spacebar will initiate attack on that hostile. But what it won't yet do is the Kiyashara, am I correct?
It's not going to add it to the queue currently. We are working on that, but right now that's not working. By the time you come around to doing the video, it may well be fully in place.
Amazing. So
the other thing you can do is if you actually update your settings, you can actually bind mouse actions to things. So you can actually make your attack right mouse button,
wow.
which is something that I do.
So I could make it so I could click with my left and attack with my right hand button. How do I do that?
So if you look for the shortcuts section, which you'll see because it'll have lots of keys mentioned in it.
This one.
Yeah. So action primary, as you can see, has space, which is the one that you were talking about originally. This is how you basically end up attacking. After the word space, before the quotes, if you put a pipe symbol, which is the vertical bar.
A pipe symbol, like this?
Yeah, so that's shift. On most keyboards, that's shift and backslash. Most UK keyboards.
Shift and what?
Not backspace, backslash. As in the one next to... There you go. And then put in 1.
Yeah.
Because mouse buttons start at 0. Left mouse button.
All right, okay.
At 0. So you have to write the word mouse as well.
One mouse.
No, not one mouse. Mouse 1.
Mouse 1. Yeah.
And I would do it in uppercase.
Okay. No spaces.
No spaces, just mouse and then 1. So that is your right button. If you have side buttons on your mouse, then you can have mouse 2 and 3 as well. So you can combine those things. So I do it so that mouse 3 on my mouse is actually recall. So again, after the R, I basically put pipe and then mouse 3.
Wow.
And then I can actually recall the ship just with my mouse button. I don't even have to stretch over to R to recall.
Stretch over to R. So now if I save my TOML file again, remember for this to take effect. So at the moment, if I left click and then right click, the right click does nothing. You may audibly be able to hear me rapidly clicking my right hand click button. But now that I've added that mouse 1 in there, if I relaunch my game, I should be able to do left click, right click to attack. That is so cool, by the way. If this works. Which I know it's going to work because you've just told me. No pressure.
Well, this is actually my raiding setup. My raiding setup is basically to have my my mining ships, and I just spam one button for the first amalgam, the other button for the second. Hit left click on the station. Hit right click to attack, and then my side button to recall. So I literally just use 2 fingers on the left hand, and 3 buttons on the right.
Wow.
And that's how I raid.
So 1 click. Watch how quick I can do this. So I can go left, right. Look at that. That's actually quicker than pressing the space. But so you can do it all with one hand. You don't even need to use your hand to start doing this attacking.
Yep, and it even works during a territory takeover. When people are coming at you, and you can just keep spamming the right button to launch the next attack, so that people don't get to you.
Oh, that is so.
And I even used that today. So.
That is absolutely amazing. Any other really key tips? Because I don't want to go into massive detail. I don't want to talk about anything. But within this TOML file, so you can see all the different shortcuts, all the ones that are already key binded. You can obviously change them to make it work for you. The other one that I think is quite good is the ability to turn off banners and things like that. So at the bottom down here, you've got all these banners. So like, for example, if you don't want to see Galaxy Chat, you can change that to true, and you'll never have to look at Galaxy Chat again. But like the pop-ups when you have an armada starting for things like that, or you can turn them off. I mean, they're set on there, but you can turn them off through this UI, can't you?
You can. The one thing that I like to turn off, turn to true, is disable escape exit, which I noticed you used before. You hit escape to get the thing to say exit, and you said, yeah. I never use that because I always have it in windowed mode, and I can hit the X.
Yeah. So this disable escape exit, what it allows you to do is it basically turns off the minute I can press escape, and then I've got do you want to exit the game, yes or no? It turns that off. So like, for example, if you're in a refinery or something like that, and you're deep in a refinery, it's going to mirror where we're in here, and I want to get back to the game quickly, I can just smash the escape button, but then you're here. But you can't press escape again to get rid of this. So what you've got to do is you've got to actually manually click no. So turning that off allows you to get back to your game from wherever you are by just smashing the escape button a few times to get back to your game quickly. If you're being raided, if you're in a battle, if you're in a PvP scenario or something like that, just to help it out. But there's so much other stuff in there. We might cover other stuff off later on, but basically play with it, enjoy it.
One of the things that I would say here is we played with the UI scale, and you could see that. The only other one is zoom factors, and up at the top in graphics, I think it was, you've got UI presets. Yeah, there you go. So you can set different numbers for the system zoom presets, and that will allow you to press F1 through F5 to go to different levels. At the minute, they're all set to 0, so they won't really do anything.
Yep.
But if you set those to a figure between, I think, 800 and 5,000, I do it at scale intervals, and you pick the ones you like, then you can basically spam the F1 to F5 keys.
And be able to get different system zooms just from using F1 to F5. That is absolutely amazing as well. That's really good. Like I say, I think this is fantastic. I think this is an absolute must-have for everybody that uses the PC version, and hopefully this has now shown you how to do it, where to get the files from, where to put them, how to update them, how to change them. And I want to say a massive, massive thank you again to NetNiv and everybody that helps out, everybody that contributes over there on the GitHub site to be able to contribute towards this. It's amazing. And I want to thank you for your time, NetNiv, and thank you for taking the time to actually go through this and show everybody in the community. And thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you for using it.
Thank you. So that's it. That's the community patch, community mod, whatever you want to call it. That's how to install it, how to use it. Go ahead, play with it. Any questions you've got, obviously throw it in the Discord, the link to the Discord to be able to get access to all of this from the community patch settings for all the way through to the DLL and all the ongoing transitions of how this is going to morph the game in the future. Really looking forward to seeing what the guys come up with next. I really, really am. But massive again, shout out, thank you to NetNiv and everybody that's been involved in that. It's so amazing and it is absolutely something that I could not live without. Thank you everybody for watching. Please subscribe, please like, please share this out with your alliances. Everybody that uses the PC version should be using this. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this, but thank you. And remember that absolutely everything is better with lube. Take care guys and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.